Hello, Kristen Musser here. I would like to say thank you, first of all, for joining me as we talk a little bit about digital citizenship and the very important subject matter of cyber safety. No matter what grade level you are teaching, I think that cyber safety has definitely become a relevant aspect in our world. Something that is not always easy to talk about with our students, but definitely needs to be approached is this element of being safe online. If you haven't experienced the cyber dangers firsthand, you've more than likely seen it in the media. I recently came across an article, sadly enough, where a father found disturbing subject matter on his son's iPad. And as you can see, this kidspot.com had an article recently about this former rugby league star finding messages in the virtual world. And this was an app that looked like something. Here we see the dad. An app that looked much like Minecraft. Sadly, as you can see, when he logged onto the app, acting as one of his young sons, he was asked to lay down on top of them, and they started with inappropriate movements. Here's some screenshots of that app. And he did go, once again, out on social media, used it as a platform to let other parents know that if your child has a game called Roblox on their iPad, get rid of it immediately. So it is, unfortunately, something that we must approach with our students, even our youngest students, to be safe online. So let's talk a little bit about how we can do that. Knowledge is power. Absolutely, we want our students to be powerful and full of knowledge. However, seemingly innocent apps that we may even discuss or use in the classroom can lead to dangerous situations. Real quickly here, another article on Redbook that I found. These 10 popular apps could put teenagers in serious danger. However, I know personally my 5th graders are using some of these apps, such as Snapchat, which when you look at these, you can see that the dangers. Why is Snapchat blacklisted? Snapchat's one of the most popular apps for sexting. Sex can be saved even though they're supposed to disappear. Hopefully none of our students are using dating apps. However, if they're not being monitored really closely at home, what they're downloading or putting on their personal devices, they could very easily get onto sites such as Tinder or Blender. So there are multiple risks our students are facing. Cyber safety can't start too soon. Recently I read an article which quoted Don Goebel, who is a teacher at Ladue Horton Watkins High School in St. Louis, Missouri, wherein he said, "Social media has become one of the greatest educational tools of all time, and yet it goes untaught. Why? Fear of the unknown? Lack of value? The time is now for education to embrace this form of learning and begin, even in small ways, embedding social media lessons in all classrooms." And that is my hope for us, that even in small ways we can begin to discuss these safety issues to ensure some safety for our students. So where to begin is a large issue for teachers. Where do we begin with this? I'm going to show you real quickly a few sites that you will see come up again. This site, Common Sense Education, is a fabulous resource, a fabulous tool for parents, for educators, for advocates alike. And you will see this site again in a moment. Another website, staysafeonline.org, is a great resource for us as educators. I want to stay safe online. You could go through this with your own children at home, or I want to teach online safety. For example, here I could go into grades 3 through 5. And over on the right side, you see there are class lesson plans, getting started with cyber safety, instructions and team rules, something that I know I absolutely will use in my classroom this upcoming school year, class exercises and activities. It downloads a PDF for you. And it gives you scenarios, which are great. Do some role playing with your students. Scenario 1, Jake and the bad virus. Scenario 2, Emily and Romanita's long distance friendship. So it puts some scenarios out there and lets your students do some role playing where they can show that they indeed know the right choice to keep themselves safe. Amy's Country Countdown. So there are resources available to us to help us get started in the classroom. Something that I think is crucial is that we start teaching some ownership statements to our students. It needs to be practiced in the classroom. Here are 3 statements that I think kindergarten through 12th graders could find relevant. I have a responsibility to keep myself safe online. I must protect my private and personal information. I possess power in the words I choose to use. So let's look into the responsibility, the rings of responsibility. Now this information comes from that website, Common Sense Media, and they discuss rings of responsibility. So you will have your students reflect upon their offline responsibilities, their responsibilities to themselves, friends and family, and to their community in their everyday life. Then examine that and hold that up to the responsibilities that they have online. We would hope that students would learn that good digital citizens are responsible and respectful in the digital world and beyond. Items such as never sharing a friend's private information or not copying someone else's words. This can lead into conversations about plagiarism and being responsible using the World Wide Web. The second statement, I must protect my private and personal information. This is where we want our students to learn about the benefits of sharing information online, but also that there are safety and security risks of sharing certain types of information. We want our students to understand what types of information they could be putting out there that are going to put them at risk for identity theft and other scams. We don't want to scare our students, but we want them to be aware. And it's important that we distinguish between personal information, which is safe to share online, such as your favorite types of food or your opinions presented in a respectful manner. Your first name is safe to share online, compared to that private information which is unsafe to share online, such as your mother's maiden name, your social security number, your date of birth, specifics on where you're going to be at certain times of the day, of course any credit card information, even your phone number. And that third ownership statement, I possess power in the words I choose to use. This really links us into the concept of cyberbullying. We want our students to be able to empathize with those who have received mean and hurtful messages. We want them to judge what it means to cross the line from harmless to harmful communication and to generate solutions for dealing with cyberbullying. We want them to understand that once they put those words out there, it's not easy to take them back. Something you could begin today in your classroom when talking to your students about this cyber safety is this idea of the stoplight, something they're familiar with. Green. If you feel safe and you're enjoying interacting with someone online and what you're doing at that time, then the coast is usually clear. But look both ways. Be on the lookout. If something happens in a conversation that makes our student feel uncomfortable, they need to slow down, be cautious, and most importantly, they need to know that they are in control. They can stop the situation. They can get offline. They can go tell an adult. And if the person that they're talking to is clearly acting inappropriate and makes them feel like something is off, if their gut tells them something is not right here, stop. It's too dangerous for them to proceed. So each of us could begin discussing this stoplight method in our classrooms. Most importantly, just know that any step that you're making in the classroom towards keeping your students safe is in the right direction. Thank you very much for spending this time with me, and I hope you've picked up some helpful hints.